Well, welcome to another edition of Off-Road Worldwide. We're going to have a bit of an overview from the past month of the world of motorsport. And I'm really pleased to say we've been joined again by the one and only Jon Aston, organiser of the British Cross Country Championship, an event that is just going from strength to strength. Jon Aston, welcome to the studio again.
Well, thanks for inviting me once again.
Now, it's all looking pretty good. The first round's been done and dusted. A fantastic event. We've had some great reports come back from it. A lot of people really talking about it. A big buzz going on. Not just the British Cross Country Championship, there's lots of other things just looming as well now as well. Your second round looks quite amazing. I think the Scottish Grand Safari, isn't it? It's a great title. I think we've got a little logo to show that one for us somewhere, Giles. And we'll just have a quick look at dates and things. There we go. Look at that. The Scottish Grand Safari. What a great title. And at the fabulous Forest Estate, Jon. What a great tie-in that is with the Scottish cross-country cruise.
Absolutely. I mean, in the past, the Scottish guys have always run an event at Forest Estate, traditionally on the second weekend of June. And the British Cross Country Championship always used to run it the week before. And if you take out the officials and the cars, the event itself is very similar. So duplicating effort. So anyway, I had a chat with Rupert and said, look, this is daft. We're both running effectively the same event. Why don't we pool resources, half the cost, half the effort? So he agreed. It's also part of my, I have to do this funny thing on my master plan, to actually be involved. Because in the past, the management team of the British have always organised and run their own events, which is fine, but it's a lot of work. And it excludes everybody else from getting involved with it. What I'd like to do is get some of the regional clubs involved. And we've started this year with Scotland, where they are running a round that will be included in the British Cross Country Championship. Hopefully next year and in future years, we'll get other regional clubs hosting rounds of it as well. And actually spread the love around a bit, really. There's not enough competitors for us all to fight over them. And if we all fight over them, we will all lose. But if we work together, we will all gain. So that's my plan, if you will.
Well, that's perfect. Of course, Rupert Hines and the whole crew up there, Dean Pugh, the whole gang, terrifically good organised as well. And some beautiful sites. The Forest Estate is stunning. It's one of the most beautiful sites we've got, I think.
Absolutely. I mean, in terms of beauty, it is fantastic. I've been up there several times in June time and also for the Borders Hillrally in November. November, for the last few years, it's been getting warmer and warmer. Not quite sun cream territory, although Diana Baines and Colin All will tell you a story about sun cream. In fact, you know what? I'm going to tell you a story about sun cream on the Borders in November last year. I am driving through the stage, just having a bit of a nose, and I bump into Diana and Colin in the middle of nowhere. So I wind the window down, say, hello, chaps, how are we doing? And Colin says to me, have you got any lube? So without going into any detail, I say, I haven't any lube, but I have got some sun cream. And he said, that'll do. At which point he revealed his stapler, and the staples were getting stuck in the little staple chute thing there. So he took them out, put some sun cream on them, and put them back in again, and fired a few off, and that was all good. But yes, had me question for a bit there. So you heard it here first. We did actually use sun cream on the Borders Hillrally in November, but not keep out the ultraviolet rays. So yeah, very funny. But yeah, in June,
I could see your face as well when he asked.
It's not often I'm speechless, but that was one of those rare moments. Anyway, but in June, of course, we are joined, not just the competitors, officials and marshals, there's also umpteen billion midges. So if anyone's watching this and thinking of coming up in June, more than welcome. But make sure you bring some Avon Skin So Soft or some Smidge, or else they are going to have a feast. I also wear a hairnet, well, whole face net thing as well. It's not very attractive. But otherwise, you end up getting lunched on. That's the only thing that spoils it, really. And the last year they did have, or was it last year, the year before, they had a midge eating machine. Because midges are attracted to carbon dioxide, of course. So anything exhales carbon dioxide.
It gets better. You're really selling it, Jon, I'll tell you.
Oh, I know. But anyway, they've got this big midge eating machine now, which pumps out carbon side. And of course, all the midges like that, and they go in there and they don't come out again. So that's good. But other than that, the actual stages themselves are just incredible. I've competed up there in Forest Estate, absolutely fantastic. And obviously can't reveal any details at the moment, but Rupert and his team have done a fantastic job of putting on 2 stages, one for the National A boys and one for the National B boys. And because whilst this is a round of the BXCC, it isn't organised by us. So it's an independent event, and the competitors have got the choice of entering the longer National A event or the shorter National B event. Obviously, the price reflects the size of the event, but the longer stage will be, from memory, about 10.5 miles. So that should be some sweaty faces coming out at the end of that, and I think the shorter one's about 5.5. Something like that. But yeah, we're running both. Rupert is running both of those events concurrently, and whether you enter the A or the B, that will count towards points in the Scottish Cross Country Championship. So his guys got the choice of a long one or a short one. My guys will do the long one. They're already entered. They've already paid, so they'll do the long one. And from what I've seen so far, I think it's going to be a fantastic event.
It's wonderful. I just love it to see these big estates. We've got Walters Arena, Greg Clement down there as well. And the people running them are behind them, also very keen on motorsport, which makes it fantastic for all the crews and all the clubs to get a foot in and actually get some really good driving in. And I know I got taken around the course up at the Scottish, the Borders Hillrally, say, a couple of years ago. Didn't make it last year. The snow. It stopped. We couldn't even get from Devon up there, honestly. So hopefully this year we'll be there. But it's just breathtaking. The big thing I thought was, as you come cruising or blatting over the brow of a hill, this enormous panorama opens up, and you've really got to focus, because for all the world you go, oh, look at that, and you've got a hell of a left sharp turn, and it just drops away again down to nothing. So you've got to stay focused, and it's very beautiful. It's one more distraction, I think, but what a great sight.
Absolutely, there are some absolutely incredible vistas up there. I mean, Scotland and Wales, God's own country when the sun's shining. A bit miserable when it isn't. But a lot of you will know Michael Jones, aka Beady. It doesn't much anymore nowadays, but of course his 2 daughters are involved heavily in motorsport. So you've got Chloe and Zoe, and their dad Beady, who's I've forgotten how many decades we've been friends, but he said to me years and years and years ago on what was the Perthshire Hill Rally, he said, yes, you get a chance, while you're driving across the hills, just look out of your window. And Forest Estate is the same. It's absolutely fantastic. And when the sun's shining and you've got bits of light coming through the trees, it's just magical. I was up there 4 years ago, 2015, and it was snowing. And we went into some of the night stages, and I said to Doug, my navigator, I said, we had one of these big LED light bars on top of the car, so turn that off, really. I can't see where I'm going, because the LED was so bright, it was reflecting off the snow. You couldn't see, anything, basically. So, but that's Scotland, isn't it? It's either glorious or horrible. And,
always been amazing events. Always hosted amazing events, and the Perthshire was just one of the best, especially when we went down to Knockhill and did the circuit down there. That was an absolute hoot. It was just brilliant. But that brings us very nicely.
To butt in, it's not a secret, so I can tell everybody. But the Scottish team, led by Rupert, are really hoping to bring the Perthshire back onto the map again. They've got, and I wish them all the best. And I've said to Rupert, I'll come and help in whatever way I can, because it's a fantastic event. They've got a lot of challenges ahead of them, and I really hope they do it. But they've certainly got a goal to bring the proper Perthshire back onto the map again. So good luck to those guys, and keep an eye on the Scottish Hill Facebook page.
That would be great news. That was a belter. I just love that event. That'd be really, really great. But it does bring us very nicely onto another very imminent event. Of course, the Hillrally, the Welsh Hillrally. That's coming up next as well. That is going to be an absolute corker. Last year was fantastic. So let's see what you've got planned for this year, Jon, because I think there's some top-class competitors coming into this one.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I seem to have done lots of advertising for the Borders, and of course, completely forgetting about the Welsh, which is the other event within the Hillrally Championship, which is also running this year. Last year the weather was absolutely fantastic. A bit too warm for the drivers, but logo just appeared on the screen. Absolutely beautiful for us that we're in HQ, walking around in T-shirts and complaining how hot it is. But the poor drivers in their multiple layers of race suit and in hot cars and things, it wasn't very comfortable. And that's part of the reason why we moved the date. Because we try to avoid Goodwood, which also happens. In fact, Goodwood's date this year is exactly the same weekend as the Welsh would have been, so dodged a bullet there. But also to try and avoid the weather, because last year, for various reasons, whilst it was absolutely glorious sunshine, the weather did actually spoil the event. So I'm hoping in 2 weeks' time that it'll be a bit cooler. When we were there a few weeks ago with round one of the British, the weather was just right for racing. It was on the race days. It was cool and dry, which is absolutely perfect for racing. And I've obviously got my fingers crossed for the same weather in a couple of weeks' time for the Welsh. But yes, we've got some fantastic drivers. Unfortunately, whenever you pick a weekend for one of these events, and I've had loads of complaints, well, about anything I do, I get loads of complaints about. But you pick any weekend, there's always somebody who can't come for some reason. And that's a great shame. There is only 52 weekends in the year, and of course, in real terms, you can only use half of those. But this particular weekend, when the Welsh is on, clashes with Soissons in France. So we've got a fair few, going over to there. They're either going and racing, or they're going and mechanicking, or Greg Clements is taking his motor home as well, so he won't be at the Welsh. Wasn't there last year, won't be there this year. Andy DiGiulio's on holiday as well, so he won't be coming. And there's loads of other people that, because of the date, can't attend, which is a real shame. But it was the same last year. Loads of people said, I would have come, whatever. But so that's a shame. So part of the reason, like I say, why we moved the date is to try and avoid that awfully hot weather that we had last year, which spoilt the event somewhat. So fingers crossed that it's, and you don't often say this, is you? But fingers crossed it's not too hot.
Well, actually, I'm quite relieved you haven't clashed with Goodwood, because Goodwood Festival of Speed is just incredible. And of course, we were all there with the comp cars and the Ultra 4 cars, so British Cross Country, and a lot of the Club Championship cars as well, and Ultra 4 and some of the challenge vehicles, which is a great event too. So thank you for not clashing with that one, because I love them both. So hopefully we'll be up there with you as well. And again, there'll be tons of good footage coming back from it. So we're really looking forward to that. Now, you were just saying about the first round of the British, and it was quite good weather conditions. Well, luckily, good old Stage Rally did some brilliant coverage of it. It's all live. You can go and find it on YouTube. It's all over the Facebook page as well. But we've got a short clip just to show you and give you a feel of what it was like at that first stage. Some great cars out front and some great driving. Again, the scenery is just absolutely extraordinary. But the tone and the sound as they just blast around those valleys is second to none. So here's a little taster from British Cross Country Championship round one.
And Wales, and it all starts with round one here at Walters Arena. On to the first runs of the opening day then, and it would be Adrian Marfell and Paul Bartleman leading by the end of run three. The pair out to contest the championship this season in full and looking for no less than a victory and maximum points.
To be fair, we picked the puncher up, I think, last 2 miles, so yeah, it was a bit of a scare. That's all right. We did a good time, I think. We did a 13:23, so that's all right. Not bad. Yeah.
They hadn't had it all their own way from the start, though. Justin Birchall and Johnny Kunja actually took the early lead, only for that to turn into second when they returned to service after run three with a broken drive shaft, losing them around 2 minutes on the course.
Lost rear drive shaft, around about 0.10. It just went not under great duress, and we've managed to limp it back. And unfortunately, it's cost us about 2.5 minutes, but at least we're still in it.
Well, it's just a little taster. Do make sure that you go onto all the Facebook pages, both for the British Cross Country Championship and, of course, for Stage Rally Review and Song Sport. There's lots and lots of coverage there. Wayne Goldry, what a great coverage he does with it. It's just superb. And going to be on telly as well, I think.
Yes, it's going to be on, I've forgotten, Frontrunner. I've not heard the date yet, but Wayne will post it in the BXCC Facebook group when he gets the notification of the date. But yeah, just going back to those two guys there, Adrian and Justin, both of them really good drivers, really good cars. In fact, the whole packages are just incredible. And it's still anybody's game. I mean, there's another 5 rounds left yet. But those 2 guys pulled away from the rest of the pack. And I think from memory that the pair of them there's about a minute between them at the end of 2 days, but they were 8 minutes ahead of everybody else. And they both had their fair share of trauma with bits breaking and punctures and all that kind of good stuff. But the both of them did really, really well at that event. And all of these events, but specifically Walters, is one of those places where you need a little bit of luck, to quote Adrian.
Yeah, sure.
So 3 seats in the car, driver, navigator, and lady luck. And some people had more luck than others. But like I say, it's a long way to go. Yeah, Adrian fairly and squarely won that, and well done to him and his team for that. And we'll see what happens in the other 5 rounds, because it's a long way to go and anything can happen.
Well, you've got Britpart backing you all the way, of course, Paul Myers and the gang, and it's great to see their name flying high above it as well, and representing just such a brilliant thing to see the British cross country back in action. And I think that first round showed that it is absolutely what we need. For it's that aim for people to get to the highest level of off-road motorsport in this country. It's fantastic to see it.
Absolutely. I mean, we laid on an 8.7 mile course, which when Justin walked it and came back, he said to me, that is a proper championship course. You know, there was horrible bits, bumpy bits, wet bits, and really, really, really fast bits. If you want to know where one of the fast bits is, watch Andy Giulio's in-car video just before he went off. And I think when they started the car up, when Rabbit went to drag him out to that valley he was in, I think they turned the car on and it was in 6th. So goodness knows how fast he was actually going. But yes, absolutely fantastic. And the support we've got, Britpart, I mean, I can't thank them enough. They're just incredible. All the sponsors are incredible. And we mentioned their names last time. But I'm going to mention them again, but specifically around the Hillrally this time. So we've got Britpart, who I can't tell you how much they do for us, and also a lot of the other clubs as well. Their support is absolutely fantastic. So thank you very much, Paul. And of course, Richard, who I've been working with very recently at Britpart as well on some other smaller projects. Andy and Sue Powell, or Araf as his nickname, they've been very helpful on last year and this year's Hillrally. And of course, Richard Green and Karina James, 2 very well-known competitors. We're hopefully going to have the water bowser and the jet washers there again this year to wash off all that lovely mud that we're going to be accumulating on the vehicles. Richard Kesey from Staffordshire Signs and Graphics, again, one of our big supporters. Thank you very much. Justin Birchall from Birchall Food Service, one of the sponsors who we saw in the video just there. Richie Wynne-Williams, who's another Lofthouse driver, along with Justin. And another very generous sponsor is Paul Rowlands and his team from PAR Homes. Of course, relatively local to Walters. They only live in Landry Dodwell. So thank you, Paul. Paul's been very generous on the Welsh and on the British Championship. Thank you very much. And Andy Giulio, who we mentioned earlier. Nicky Grist, of course, still doing deals on any safety kit that you want. Mention the British or the Welsh, and he will do your deal. Mark Jakes, another Lofthouse driver from Commercial Colours. Of course, Bowler, again, very, very generous, and they've put 2 cars into the British this year, and they've got 1 or 2 to be confirmed in the Hillrally. And Tony and Andrew Sinclair from got my screen's blurred. All Drive Classic 4x4.co.uk. They're generating Marshall prizes for the Hillrally this year. So absolutely fantastic support. A lot of these guys are repeat supporters from last year, and a couple of new ones as well. So and without the sponsors, we can't do it. Entry fees don't cover it. And as we proved a couple of years ago with another organisation, if you increase entry fees too much, your entries go down and the whole thing ends up not running. So it's a very fine balance. These events are expensive, and it is a very fine balance between, well, let's put the entry fee up by another £100, but you lose 3 competitors. So the net result is you've got less money. So it's all a bit of a compromise. But this year we've got the right numbers to make it run. So I think we found the right price, shall we say.
Well, you're spinning plates brilliantly. Just while you're on there, you said about a bowler. A couple of Bulldogs, is it? And if so, who's driving?
Well, in the British, we've got, yes, they are a couple of Bulldogs. We've got Richard Haywood and John Tomley, 2 very well-known names. In fact, John, I think, still probably dusting himself off from coming back from the Morocco Desert Challenge.
What a great event they had out there. Great event out there.
Well, they got 3 out. I mean, for anyone who's raced in Morocco, it's tough. People were complaining about, oh, Walters is a bit rough, I've got a few punctures. Go to Morocco. Yeah, Walters is a baby compared to Morocco. I've raced in Morocco. It's really tough. But the Morocco Desert Challenge, of course, pulls no punches at all. And Bolat, as a team, got 3 of their 4 cars to the finish, and that's a fantastic achievement. But to actually answer your question, yes, the first Bulldog is piloted by Richard and John, and that's the very new Bulldog, and that has got the Range Rover SVR engine in it, and flipping heck, does it go. And it sounds absolutely incredible. What a piece! And again, a quick glance, it looks like a crew cab pickup. 110 crew cab pickup. Oh, it's just a Land Rover. It is anything but. You start looking under the bonnet or under the chassis, and you just listen to the thing start up. It makes the ground shake. It's amazing. And then the second car is crewed by. You may have heard of this guy, Dave Marsh. Dave Marsh, the Dave Marsh. Dave Marsh and his navigator Ashley, and they're in a second Bulldog with the V6 diesel engine in it, and that also is no slouch. Dave Marsh, 97 Hillrally champion, I think.
Absolutely.
Used to run QT, and quite ironic, little funny story here for you. They bust a drive shaft at Walters a couple of weeks ago, so they were recovered out of stage and sat in a dead leg, and anyway, they needed a tow back, and Chloe Jones turned up in her 88 and said, "Oh, do you want a tow?" And he went, "Oh, yes, please." And ironically, Dave was being towed by a QT 88 that he built.
Perfect.
So,
actually, while you say that, Giles, very quickly, just on screen now, if you're going to do a quick slide across there, it's a pic of the bowlers out in Morocco, just picking up all their trophies coming through the finish line, if you can grab that. Also, congratulations to Pat Masters, who was out there with Charles Simcock as well. They had a great event. So some great stories came back from there, and to see the bowlers out there was fantastic. To see Dave Marsh again, that'll be brilliant. He was so innovative when those QTs came out. Just incredible. Who doesn't remember the good old Marsh bars? They brought out a roll cage. They called it Mars bars. Yeah, it was Marsh bars instead. It's quite funny at the time. I'll see if I can get a poster of it. But so some great competitors, some great crews coming out there for the Welsh Hill Rally. Then it looks like it's going to be pretty hard fought all the way, I think. Absolutely.
I mean, a lot of these events, you've got some really good drivers in there, and I mean the British as well. I've spoken to obviously every competitor who's entered in the British, and even before the round 1 started, I think probably 6 or 7 of them all said to me, "I'm going for the big one this year." A couple of the other cars are going for class wins and just do as well as they can, but they're, like I say, 6 or 7 of them are actually going for the overall win. So all the best for everybody there. Same for the Welsh as well. The Hill Rally, I mean, obviously the Hill Rally is a totally different type of event. It's more of a marathon, not a sprint, and you've got to manage both events. But with the British, it's a single stage. So if you get any problems, as long as you can get out of stage and into service, you can then spend all day fixing your car, as a few people did. But with the Hill Rally, you do back-to-back stages, and then your service is actually timed. So if you can't fix it within that time, you're either out of the event or you're taking massive penalties. So you've really got to nurse the car and manage it properly to make sure you finish the event. It's no good saying, "Well, I was leading up until X happened." That's no good. So, but yeah, you're really looking down the entry list there. We've got some great people in there again, and a good mix of vehicles. We've got some loft houses, we've got some UTVs, QT88s. There's a proper mixture of vehicles in there, and I'm really looking forward to it.
I think it's going to be great. Well, before we finish, John, we've been watching early on in the season, seeing some of the cars get themselves ready, and we've got a fabulous little clip of one of Dan Lofthouse's, who hopefully we'll be speaking to later on. We'll be having a little run through some of his cars. Brilliant vehicle designer, superb top competitor as well. One of his cars out on test was Justin Birchall, and you were saying about when they go out in the valleys and Andy DiGiulio, the speeds he must be doing, but it's just the sound. The cars are so beautifully set up, and I just 2 minutes to spend just in test. This is one of the Lofthouse Motorsport with Justin Birchall in test before the first round of the British. It is just so beautiful. We've got to play it once. It's just amazing, isn't it? And then, as I say, the cars, the setup, there's so much, you're taking it so seriously because you're putting on these events that make it worthwhile, setting these cars up to this incredible standard. And that's what the British Cross Country is all about. It's a really good showcase for them. And I think the first round did you absolutely proud. I think it was a corker.
Oh, well, thank you very much. I mean, when you look at the speed Justin was going round there, and you think that Adrian Marfell took a minute out of him. I mean, how fast was Adrian going? You know.
It's now listen, before you go, all these wonderful events, and we all come to these events and we all go home with the t-shirts or a caps or a little bit of paraphernalia from it, and we noticed that they all get stuffed in the bottom of drawers and just been moving house. And honestly, I'll give you a brief example while you're there, John. We started, this is what kicked it off. I shall show you first of all who really triggered it, because I've been going through there thinking, goodness me, how many t-shirts have I got from all these fabulous events over, as you say, decades, that we go right back to the Perth, the Hill Rallies, all the way through. So we've got a clip of a chap called TJ Milford who set off what's in your drawers. So he started it with this t-shirt that he bought years ago when we were running off-road motorsport. Now that is 20 years ago. So that kind of teed off the competition. Then we had Nobby Morgan. He has the best collection of the Welsh Extreme, which is becoming an iconic t-shirt now. And these t-shirts really are beginning to get a bit of a following. So I thought, if I start the ball rolling, he's one of my first ones. I've cheated a little bit because I got the first thing I bought clothing-wise was this. If you can see it, Scottish Land Rover Owners Club. That was back in the 80s, early 80s. And I'm so proud of that. That's where I started. That's my first one. And then we've got things like what we used to do. They'll remember this one. We'll go that way. South London and Surrey Land Rover Club, 2003, when we used to do the London to Brighton. Still got that one. One of my favourites of all time. There you go. How's that? Rainforest Challenge, 98. That was a fantastic, with all my Cymex logos, everything all over the back. I love that too. It's still got Malaysian mud on it as well. And of course, one of my favourite clubs, I've been a member of them for this. And the club that started me off commentating as well, John, by the way. All-Wheel Drive Club, a donkey's old all-wheel drive. So that's what's in my drawers. So Jon Aston, organiser of the British Cross Country Championship. I have to ask you, very personally, what's in your drawers, John?
Well, compared to the content of your drawers, I feel, as usual, rather inadequate. Read into that one. Here's one of my favourites. And sorry, do you need?
Okay, give me a minute.
Here's one of my favourites, which is I'll just line it up. The 99 Hill Rally, sponsored by Goodyear. And obviously organised by Chris Tomley and his team. Absolutely fantastic. And Chris, by the way, still involved. I asked him a couple of days ago, will he be a club steward on the Welsh Hill Rally? He said, yeah, be delighted. Club steward last year, club steward this year. So what a great testament to the events that he started, if you like, and continued. But that's one of my favourites. And the reason why this is my favourite, 1999, 20 years this year, is because this one was the first ever Welsh Hill Rally I competed in. Still got the t-shirt. Now, if you ask my wife how many rally stroke cross country event t-shirts and clothing I've got, her answer would probably be too many. One of my favourites, actually, I looked for earlier on, I couldn't find. The last time I saw it, she was wearing it, so I think that's been stolen. And from the most recent Dakar I competed in 2013, so that's 6 years ago now, which is a lovely red from MAN Trucks. Absolutely beautiful t-shirt with loads of sponsor logos on it. And of course, I must mention Simon Cooper at this point, who's the chairman of Staffordshire and Shropshire Land Rover Club, because 6 or 7 years ago he was telling me that how he thought Robbie Good was fantastic and he wished him all the best in the Dakar and all the rest of it. And on the 2013 Dakar, we just happened to share a hotel with Robbie just before the event. So I asked Robbie, can I have a t-shirt for my mate Simon? He said, yep, not a problem. And he gave me a t-shirt, unwashed. He said Malaysian mud. This was an unwashed t-shirt from Robbie Gordon, which I brought all the way back from South America and gave to Simon Cooper. And he still wears it proudly today. So these are my three favourite t-shirts, and a little story around each one of those.
Oh, Jon, thank you so much. I think what I'm going to eventually do in the studio here is Giles and I will have to have our little wall of fame for T-shirts, because there are so many of them, and I think it's such a wonderful part of the history of the sport. I think everybody's got one somewhere, so I'm sure we'll find a lot more wonderful stories behind the T-shirts as we go along. But for now, Jon Aston, thank you so much for talking us through British Cross Country Championship, the Hill Rally, of course, and the Scottish Grand Safari. I love that title. I think that's absolutely priceless. Thank you so much for talking us through all of those. Really, really good luck for the rest of the season. I think it's going to be 2019 is the season that just keeps on giving. It just gets better and better. And thank you so much for sharing what's in your drawers.
Well, thank you for inviting me, and I'll see you on the Welsh Hill Rally in a couple of weeks, where, of course, you are doing commentary once again.
Yes, please.
Excellent. Awesome.
Perfect.
Cheers, guys.
Thanks, Jon. Cheers then. Well, 2019 is certainly the year that just keeps on giving. This season is getting better and better. So much happening already, but loads still to come as well. Jean de La Fontaine, the French event, 17th, 18th, 19th of May. That's going to be another great event. We've got a short clip courtesy of John Hilton, just to show you what it's like actually racing out in France. It's the runs are so fast, the stage is so fast. Different ball game really, but great fun. A lot of the Brits go out there. So we'll give you a slight example. This is Andy Sargent competing in the last round, as well as Terry Banyard, with of course Chris Hammond and Chris Brennan as navigators in beside them. It's great scenery. Just take a little look at this. So that's Andy Sargent first up there with Chris Hammond, a great crew. We know they've had a little bit of an incident on one of the stages, so they had a little incident. We'll get back to you with news. Apparently everybody was absolutely fine and dandy, and they're all back in the UK. I think the tractor's having a little bit of a makeover at the moment, should we say. So they'll be back out ready for that event next and see where they take it. But just absolutely blowing the production classes out of the water out there. So doing a great job, Andy Sargent. Also, Chris, we've got Terry Banyard and Chris Brennan as well. A great car this is, and just sounds gorgeous. Fantastic to see, and the Brits have such a good time. The French are so welcoming. They have an incredible time out there. Nork, we've got Tongue coming up as well. I think that's 12th of May. There's so much going on. We've also got, don't forget, out at the moment in Croatia, taking part, flying the flag, Jim Marsden and James Eyre as well. This is a great event, the Croatia Trophy. Real tough stuff. Jim currently holds 6 international titles for U4 Challenge Trophy events. The master of all of them, just absolutely brilliant driving. We've got a nice picture. I think James and Jim arrived safely and just having a little bit of a moment out, all relaxed. If you go over to the Gigglepin Racing site, you see it on there, you can follow them all the way as well, doing a little lady just in the background just waiting to go. Believe me, that is some car. So follow them through the weekend as well. That's going to be fantastic, and just see if Jim can pick up yet another trophy, another title. One of the most prolific drivers that the Brits have ever had, taking part in international events. Stork, and of course James Eyre, just a cracking competitor himself, whether it's behind the wheel or on maps. So it's all happening out there. We look forward to more coverage as we go through this month into May. And there'll be loads and loads happening, so we'll be back with you more, and hopefully a lot more people to talk to. If you fancy coming to the studio, give us a tinkle, or just get onto Facebook. We've got the page coming up. We've got a group active now, but page coming up very, very shortly. Give us a bell, and we'll make sure that we can get you on there to have a little chat about your discipline. It might be trials. We've got some of the sporting trials cars coming on as well. So anything you do, if you think it's worth a little chat, come on board, and we'll do a little programme with it. So thanks ever so much for watching, and we'll be back with you for the next month's review from Off-Road Worldwide.